Previously on our Midwest to Mountains road trip, we hiked at Ohio's Hocking Hills, investigated Point Pleasant's Mothman, and explored America's 63rd National Park, New River Gorge. In this final installment of the series, we continue into the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia and Shenandoah National Park. Well, good morning, fellow expeditionists. We spent the night again at a rest area just off of I-80. Our plan had been hopefully to find some dispersed camping here close to Massanutten Mountain here in Virginia, and we just couldn't quite make it before dark. We last visited the Shenandoah Valley in 2017. It's an area rich with Civil War history. Lots of battles took place here. But our eyes today were set on the mountains to the east of the valley. That's Shenandoah National Park, dead ahead. Now entering Shenandoah National Park.
Nice.
Evidence of Native Americans in this area date back at least 9,000 years, with European settlers moving in by the 1750s. In the early 1900s, America's national park system was expanding, and people wanted more parks in the east. So in came Shenandoah National Park, opening in 1935. Long before presidents were going off to Camp David, America's 31st president, Herbert Hoover, established a presidential retreat in these very mountains. In fact, when the Civilian Conservation Corps was created in the 1930s, Shenandoah was the first national park that the CCC worked in, helping to build the 105-mile-long Skyline Drive and its many overlooks, the trail systems, the campgrounds and picnic areas, and even removal of old homesteads. Shenandoah National Park would not exist if it were not for the CCC.
Hey fellow expeditionists, we're in Shenandoah National Park.
We're going to hike the Bearfence Mountain Trail. Interesting thing about hikes off of Skyline Drive, many of the hikes start off going downhill since you're already driving the crest of the mountains. But hiking to the peaks, such as Bearfence Mountain, are made much easier. This trail is only a couple of miles long with just over 300 feet in elevation gain. Sounds easy, right? But we came here for the rock scrambles and the views. We got one of them. We had some nice views earlier along Skyline Drive, but weather has moved in. There's going to be no views to be had for us today. Normally, Bearfence Mountain has one of the best 360-degree views, but not when the clouds move in. So we're just going to enjoy the rock scramble.
Well, I guess one view we have is the weird things on these rocks.
Fuzzy lichen.
Very fuzzy.
So the first 2 days of our Midwest to Mountains road trip here has had perfect weather. We couldn't have asked for better weather at Hocking Hills, Point Pleasant, New River Gorge. But the next few days all has really solid chance for rain, so we're just going to make the best of it.
I'm already getting hot.
Wait till we get to the top with all the wind.
Yeah.
That'll cool you down. You can literally see the fog moving in.
top now.
Yeah, buddy. Go slow. Watch your steps. Here we are peak. Have a seat. Well, here we are, folks, at the peak of Bearfence Mountain. I just absolutely love rock scrambles. Just a little more challenging today because of the wind and the weather that's moving around us. There's no rain, but no views. Just a cool experience. Controlled slide. Rocks. Whew, another cool viewpoint. Well, maybe on a clear day, be a cool viewpoint. You know, there's a lot of green up here when you really think about it.
Yeah, green algae.
Alright, well, it is trying to sprinkle on us now. And remember, this is supposed to be our good weather day here in Shenandoah, because it only goes downhill from this. Alright, Bearfence section is done. Now heading back on the Appalachian Trail. So this little section back, of course, is on the Appalachian Trail. And I just want to give a quick shout out to some good friends, the Strawbridges. They have their own YouTube channel, Instagram, and all that called Strawbridge Treks. I'm going to post a link here in the bottom. You guys check them out. They're a really awesome family, I believe from Florida. But they're currently, right now, on the Appalachian Trail. I think they're just into the Smokies at the time that I'm making this video. On their adventure up northbound. Last year they did the Continental Divide Trail. The year before that they did the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a whole family with a few friends included. Awesome, go check them out. Yeah, we're not too worried about black bears right now. This is the end of March, and if there's any black bears out, they're just now waking up. Mama bears are probably still in their dens with their little babies. So if anything, you might have a few males that are just now getting up and doing some scavenging, but I don't really expect to see any while we're here. Alright, that's our little hike here at Bearfence Mountain Trail. Really cool trail. Love the rock scrambles, and just the rocks themselves are an amazing view, even if the weather didn't cooperate for the mountain views. Catfish, got any thoughts on this hike?
I love the way the rocks looked, even though we couldn't see that much mountain view due to all of the fog, but that was a pretty cool place overall. Lots of moss and lichen here. I bet they like the moisture.
I bet they do. Moving on from Bearfence Mountain, we were trying to decide what to do next, as the weather was not cooperating for our original plans. But since we like to just kind of wing it most of the time anyway, we found a couple more trails in the area we were in to check out. Hey fellow expeditionists, we're still in Shenandoah National Park.
We're going to check out Blackrock Summit.
The rock that makes up these Shenandoah Mountains are over 1 billion years old. Most of it is metamorphic rock, meaning that they started out as volcanic rock, but have been subjected to so much heat and pressure, their composition changed. We'll be seeing a lot of this rock and its many compositions at the summit. So we're trying to fit in as much as we can here at Shenandoah as quickly as possible, just because the weather may not hold out for us. So So this giant jumble of stone in front of us is the peak. That is the Blackrock summit. So to actually summit it, we have to climb these rocks. Well, we're debating on whether or not to actually climb up on them. But since this mountain is slightly less elevations than some of the others, we're actually out of the cloud cover and can get a little bit of a view. That's heartening. Now, of course, since it's had sprinkles today, this rock is actually slippery. I'm not sure if this is the best time to be doing this. In the summertime, it is said that rattlesnakes like to come out on these rocks to sun themselves. It's still too early in the year for that. There's no set path to climb these rocks. Make your own way. I want on that one. It looks like the highest point. Oh, I have said I like a good rock scramble. That's it. I'm on the highest point of the Blackrock summit. There's a catfish over there. A little bit of a view out here. You see the clouds rolling through. You can see evidence of some of that rock and how it was transformed into quartzite. Alright, we got off the summit. It started to mist and sprinkle a little bit, and we don't really want to be on the talus field while it's getting wetter and wetter. But we're not done exploring. We're on the Blackrock Summit Spur Trail / Tradefoot Mountain Trail. I find this fascinating, this line of rock. It's like it's just slowly sliding off the side of the hill, but it looks like a wall. Almost unnatural wall, you know? Maybe this is the site of an ancient pyramid.
Maybe.
And it's slowly collapsed through geologic forces. Probably built by
aliens. Do 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 do.
Alright, we're now making our way through this obviously built tunnel of rock. No way this could be natural. Such a cool landscape. Yeah, if this ancient rock formation was built, it could have been by humans. That'd be something bigger, something more like Bigfoot. Something more like
aliens.
Alright, so the rain that has moved in on us has cut short our exploration and delving into the potential alien connection at Blackrock Summit. So that's Blackrock Summit, one of the easiest hikes here at Shenandoah National Park.
But some of the coolest scenery with all the rocks.
Yep. Well, we're going to try to go find us another short hike to do here at Shenandoah. We're kind of feeling a little bit disheartened right now because of the weather. So, we're kind of at a loss because the next couple of days are just going to get worse and worse with the rain. But we're going to make the best of it.
Hey fellow expeditionists, we're going to do the Frazier Discovery Trail at Shenandoah. It's going to be a quick and easy hike.
Well, if you need a hiking stick, there's people left them behind for us. A little more of a climb than I was expecting, huh? Looks like we're heading back into the mist and clouds. Back onto some very exposed, very wet rock. Typically this would be an amazing view. I think Mother Nature gave us our first 2 days on this trip with perfect weather and said that's all she could hold off. This is springtime after all. Still pretty cool to be out here, isn't it, Catfish?
It sure is.
Alright. Here's what we got. A whole lot of mist and clouds. Kind of cool to be in the clouds though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, just because we're up in the clouds and the mist and getting wet on these hikes here in the higher elevation doesn't necessarily mean they're seeing the same thing down at ground level, like down in Luray, Virginia, and the other little towns, because sometimes you can look up in the mountains and you just see a layer of clouds hovering around the top of the mountains, since the mountains kind of create their own atmosphere, their own weather anyway. So it could be sunny down there and just have clouds hovering around the top, and that's kind of what we've been stuck in today, huh?
Yep. So this is Frazier Discovery Trail, a trail that is easy to hike and has lots of nature at Shenandoah National Park.
At this point, we had fit in 3 good hikes, even with the less than favorable weather, and we got notification of a couple emergency phone calls, but didn't have enough signal in the mountains to check them. So we began our journey out of the park, but still enjoyed the views along Skyline Drive. Well, fellow expeditionists, we are up on Massanutten Mountain, and it was our intention to head up here and do some dispersed camping. But as you see, they want us not to. However, all is not completely lost. We at least have a trail out here to do.
It's Massanutten Storybook Trail.
The Massanutten Mountain is part of the George Washington National Forest and forms the western side of Shenandoah Valley. The Storybook Trail here on Massanutten Mountain tells a different kind of story. It's a geologic story of how these mountains were formed. The mountains and valleys that we were exploring were originally part of a shallow inland sea swarming with life many millions of years ago, long before these mountains rose up. These rocks we were walking among began as sand on the seafloor 400 million years ago. At this time, those seas were teeming with creatures like nautiloids, cephalopods, trilobites, and gastropods. On shore, the first land plants were just appearing. This part of Virginia was a large basin collecting sand and calcium-rich materials. As these deposits were buried deeper and deeper, time and pressure transformed the layers into sandstone, shale, and limestone. Around 350 million years ago, these mountains were being formed by deep movements within the Earth's crust. The rock layers folded, buckled, and fractured. These are the rocks we now see exposed in the many rock outcroppings. Over time, erosion has cut into these rock layers, particularly the easy-to-erode rock like the shale and limestone, which became the valleys. The harder-to-erode rock, like sandstone, formed the ridges and mountain ranges we were now hiking on. As we explore the rocks along the trail, trace fossils can still be found in the rocks from the ancient seabed. Here, the many holes on this rock are fossilized worm burrows. The Earth tells an amazing story if we know how to read its writing. This might be the best view we've had all day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm loving this view up here. What do you say we check out some of the rocks around it?
Yeah.
So that's the Storybook Trail here on Massanutten Mountain, with a great geologic story in rock.
And a storybook ending with a great view.
Well, it's been a pretty full day here, I'd say. Even though the weather wasn't very cooperative, we did get to do 3 fairly easy but very scenic hikes there in Shenandoah. And then this little hike here with probably the best view of the day on the Storybook Trail. And it's obviously getting dark on us, so even though we can't head back this road like we thought we were going to for dispersed camping, we're going to boondock right here. Alright, good morning, fellow expeditionists. I had a good night's sleep last night. We're now just kind of cruising the Shenandoah Valley. This area is absolutely rich with Civil War history. This is an area that the Confederacy, I believe, controlled for quite some time with Stonewall Jackson and all. There's so much history through this area. So we're just cruising around, checking it out before we go on to our next adventure. We decided to take a little break here right by the Shenandoah River. It's just such beautiful scenery out here, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Is on the right.
Hey, fellow expeditionists. We've been up on top of the mountains.
Now we're gonna go under them.
We are at Grand Caverns Park here in Grottoes, Virginia. We're getting ready to do us a cool little cave tour.
Hey, they have a shop kitty.
Well, it appears we are the first ones at the park today for tours. And that shop kitty was really cute, huh?
Yes, it was.
There are many commercial caves in the Shenandoah area, but we chose Grand Caverns because it is literally the oldest continually operating show cave in the United States. The cave was discovered in 1804 by local hunter Bernard Weir, who was trying to retrieve one of his traps. The cave was then opened for tours in 1806 and has been giving tours ever since. We've visited several commercial caves over the years, but rarely do a video of them. It's just a little too difficult with the low lighting, the tour guide, and the crowds, not to mention many caves don't allow video recording. So, we'll give you some of the highlights, which includes some of the most magnificent cave formations we've ever seen. Oh, and the coolest thing about this cave? It was operating during the Civil War, even as battles raged within 5 miles of the cave. What makes that so unique is that many of the soldiers, both on the Union side and the Confederate side, would visit the cave for tours during their downtime, often at the same time, not even knowing it. There are over 200 verified Civil War signatures in the cave. Wow, Grand Caverns here in Grottoes, Virginia. I'm amazed. The formations and all, it was just way more than I expected. Catfish, what did you think?
I really liked all of the cave formations and like the stalactites and the stalagmites and all the cave bacon and other stuff that was in there.
Alright, all those discs and everything.
And all that Civil War history.
Yeah, the history is what really blew me away. You know, this whole valley, as we mentioned before, is all the Civil War history, and to learn that at one time, both Union soldiers and Confederate soldiers went into this cave potentially at the same time as tourists. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Well, fellow expeditionists, I think that's going to about do it for our little Shenandoah adventure here on this Midwest to Mountains adventure. We had still had more that we wanted to do here. We wanted to climb Old Rag, and we wanted to go a bit north and go check out the Seneca Rocks and do some climbing there. But the weather is not cooperating. We've got rain in the forecast and even forecasting high winds, which makes it pretty treacherous to try to climb on rocks. So this is going to pretty much do it. We're going to have to settle for what we got, and just remember, we need to come back sometime and check out the rest. A lot of history here, just a great place. It's been a great adventure overall this week. Catfish, any thoughts?
I like the environment it had and like the feeling it made. Like the rocks made it look really weird because they had all that stuff on them, and I just like the fog made it different from what we have. That's for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah. Getting up in that high elevation is always interesting, no matter what the weather is, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, maybe you don't get the great views, but you get a whole different feeling within it.
That's for sure.
Yep, well, loved everything we did here in Shenandoah, going to the caves, going up on the mountains, and of course New River Gorge was amazing. I need to get back there, do some backpacking there, and of course Point Pleasant's always fun and interesting. Hocking Hills was a new one for us, and that was really amazing. So much that's been opened up to us to explore more in the future. I'm glad that you guys come along for the ride with us. Till next time, fellow expeditionists, peace out.